Hey everyone, welcome back. I am Pixel Geek and I'm here with another No Code Award semi-finalist. Some of you may already know him from the No Code community. He is he is a big fan of no code. He started with WordPress and now he's here with Webflow and all things no code. He is now the newest chief marketing officer over at FinSuite. You may have heard his name before, but here he is right now. Whoops, wrong screen. There it goes. Raymmar, what is up?
What is up?
How
Hello.
how are you?
I'm great.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
project
things
made it.
now things are good. Yeah, life is moving along in the Webflow world.
I'm so happy for you. I mean, you've made been making great strides, and I'm really happy that your no code video project made it onto the semifinals. But before we get into
Hmm.
what went into that project, uh, please introduce yourself to those who haven't met you yet.
Yeah, great. My name's Raymmar Tirado. Like Nelson said, I started in the world of WordPress, but now I'm firmly planted in the world of Webflow. Um, let's see. I recently just joined, as you said, the FinSuite. Looking forward to that team. You may have seen me, Sarasota Webflow meetup organizer. We did Clone Comp, a ton of clonables. I got a background in video and web. Actually, let's go ahead and maybe give people a little sneak peek of the facility here. So we've got a beautiful streaming. Actually, I think they're recording a little podcast on there right now.
Oh,
You can kind of catch
nice.
the edge of the table. But yeah, we've got a lot of plans for video and multimedia as it relates to Webflow and kind of the no code world. And really excited to be a part of this community. Nelson has been a huge influence in my development over time in the world of Webflow. And so, yeah, much love for everything about this space.
Awesome. So like I said, you recently joined the FinSuite team, and before this recording, I was about to go into it, but now just want to talk to you about it honestly and
Yeah.
directly. Like, I always felt it felt like a natural move in your career because your personal brand seems to align with the FinSuite brand. You're very out there, you're very colorful, and you want to make a big splash. And when you look at FinSuite's website, that's all the things. I mean, crazy interactions, very in your face. It's a lion right there saying, hey, we're serious and we're out there, and so we're gonna do the same thing with your brand if you come to us. So,
That's
can
right.
you tell me how did that relationship come about, and can you tell
Oh,
us what you're doing for the FinSuite team, if you can?
yeah. Um, honestly, it started all the way back. I don't know if you remember when Webflow started looking for the head of community, and I built that
Ooh,
Hire Me website,
oh
like a
yeah,
hire dash Raymmar. And so like that was my first intro to the community, and it was cool because it got me a one-on-one with Vlad. And I didn't end up getting the job, but at the time, what I didn't realize was that it's also put me on the radar of other people in the community who had seen me, and kind of like that was the first intro to the community. And so Joe saw that site. We didn't really interact at that point, though. It wasn't until like I think No Code Conf that we actually met back at Webflow HQ. And then we interacted on Twitter and a couple places like through the showcase or whatever. And then we collaborated on a couple events, Clone Comp, etc. And we just always been talking about different ways we might collaborate together, or things we might work on together.
yeah.
And then I applied most recently for another community manager position at Webflow, and that didn't come through. And he sent me a message. He says, "Hey, what would it take to make you happy to come do whatever you're going to do over here for us?"
Okay.
And I was like, I don't really know. I don't, like I hadn't thought about
Yeah.
that. Because I have a studio operation, I have a freelance operation. Like we have, like I'm not really looking for work. I was just the prospect of working at Webflow was like too good to pass up. So I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll go try that.
Yeah.
And so that led to like a couple weeks of just back and forth conversation about how it might work. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse to join as an actual partner of FinSuite. And I think we're very much aligned in how we want to approach the market and what we're trying to do in the space. And yeah, I think it's just going to be unlimited potential.
Yeah.
I can tell you a little bit about what we're looking at now. I can't really tell you
Oh,
a whole lot, but
obviously.
as you know, we're trying to build out on the functionality of Webflow, the CMS. And so there's a ton of things that between hacks and little additions, there is a full piece of software, I think, that's coming out that will blow people's minds in the Webflow space.
Yes.
As it relates to that, it has a little bit to do with what you talked about yesterday. It's on Twitter. It's not an exact surrogate of that, but it will allow you to attach other data sets and kind of play with other things inside of Webflow in a way that
for people who haven't seen the tweet, I tweeted out because I spoke to another semifinalist, the Edgar Poe team and their client, how they had to take a WordPress site and migrate it into Webflow, but taking all of that database data and putting it into the collections was a tough process. And I'm like, whoever streamlines this with one click wins all the revenue. Just there you go.
Yeah.
And so if your team, if FinSuite is working on that, or whoever is,
we're not working on that. It's not that specifically, but there's so many parallels to that in its own way. Again, I don't want to talk too much about it because it's not finished and working yet, but I'm lying. It is working yet. It's not fully bug free. So it's not at the place where Joe likes
bug free.
Well, Joe likes to hold things close to his chest until it's like ready to hit the market. And I'm out here like, nah, let's hype it up. Let's tell people.
Well, that's why you're a chief marketing officer. Like you want to.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. All right.
Well, and my other focus is obviously in video production. I've talked to you about my ambitions about creating a documentary about this no-code space and the story that's evolving. That is a long-term vision for us, and we're just trying to figure out what the steps are to start telling the story at a small scale, which could eventually lead to something like that. And so, stay tuned for that. You can expect lots of really interesting video-driven story stuff in the no-code space.
I can see like in the future, like little photos of little Vlad or something, like as he grew up, and then when he migrated over from Soviet Russia to United States, and hearing that story. I mean, that's a powerful story right there. And seeing him in front of his latest tweet, seeing him in front of his a billboard, a Webflow billboard. Amazing. But let's shift over. Cool. Let's shift over to your project that you submitted, No Code Video. Tell me more about why you created it, like where did the idea come from, and what hurdles did you have to overcome to launch that?
Yeah. So honestly, it started as like I knew I was going to do some videos. I had gone to the conference and I shot a bunch of videos and I edited a couple things and I was like, oh, where am I going to publish this? But then I was also trying to like learn Webflow at the time. I was still kind of trying to like learn all the different ins and outs of not just building, but like building something complicated, like the menu's kind of complicated, building some interesting navigation stuff. And then I really wanted to get into the membership stuff and kind of the automation on the back end, right? Like that's what I was more interested in experimenting with on this site. And so I was like, well, what if I just built a YouTube clone to put these videos on? And then I started thinking, well, what if I then collect other people's stuff? And so that just got me thinking. And actually it's evolved quite a bit. Like if I were to go through like the version history, there's, like I keep updating that site, every couple of months, it gets like a nice little robust update. And actually the next update might let people upload their own content and kind of, we're going to have some real fun stuff. Like this no code video is going to become the playground for some of the tools that we're building from a back end, from a collaboration standpoint, from a lot of places. And so, it kind of like just started as I wanted to give a clonable away. Like I have lots of clonables. I always build clonables, and so I was like, I'll build another clonable, and it's become one of my most popular clonables. It drives thousands of page views every month. Organically, because I don't advertise it or tell anybody about it. So it's really become like a fun little experiment online.
Awesome. Congrats on that. What I like about this, and I guess this is a good lesson for everyone who's just getting into the no code space, learn in public. It seems like this is just your playground site, and then you just started to evolve it more and more just to give yourself an excuse to learn.
Yep.
And you're doing it in public, and you're sharing that as a clonable project with everyone. So that's amazing.
And the first one I did was like I rebuilt the Huffington Post, and like so the goal was like, how can I just like, and I gave it away as a clonable. And so like at one point my goal was to basically recreate every major media company's platform and just give it away.
You may get some cease and desist or something like that.
It just became I'm not using their content, right?
That's
their design
true.
can't be that, like so.
That's true.
So, but it just became overwhelming. But it was one of those on the way. And I still think the clonable showcase is one of the most underrated features of Webflow. I think clonable stuff is like huge in this space. Like I call it open source design, right? There's open source software development.
Yeah.
This is open source design, right? Webflow is open sourcing design, which is crazy.
It's like, what if you had Dribble, but then you're like, oh, that's cool. Can
want
I clone that with one click?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't want all of it. Maybe I just want one. I'm going to clone it and then copy it and paste it into my project. Just a little element, you know?
Yeah. Very underrated feature of Webflow.
So many things about Webflow are underrated right now. So that's just good on us. Anyway, we don't need, that'll be a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for taking the time and explaining how this project went about. And I can't wait to see what else happens with your career. But most importantly, what does FinSuite do for the no-code community? It sounds like a lot. And man, that brand, that FinSuite, it's just, it's already like set a high bar, but it's just gonna go even further really fast now that you're part of the team. Like, oh my god, I can't wait for the hype. You're already hyping me up, and I'm like,
do you know what's funny is there's been a couple times over the last few weeks as I'm onboarding and I've just spent the last couple weeks interviewing and kind of meeting all the team. And then looking through their past work and kind of really getting up to speed with all the stuff they've done. And there's been a couple times where I'm literally just like, what do they need me for? Like, they're so good. They're so good, you know? And obviously I understand where I bring value. And like, that's what Joe and I are trying to figure out is like, you know, he's a very kind of great business mind, great salesperson. He's the CEO. He's like 100% wants to make decisions fast. And I'm over here like, you know, thinking about the emotion of it and how the story fits in, you know, so it's going to be a fun interplay between us. But yeah, there's so much talent on the team that I'm blown away.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congrats to you. And we'll see what happens from here on out. And I hope that your project gets to the finals. Shout out to Mackenzie. And there was a couple other tutorials other tutorials that I just watched that taught me how to do some of those things in the no code video. You know, that's why I submitted as a team project, because there were things that I just never would have been able to do without the help from the community of other people like putting stuff together. So while they weren't necessarily involved in like building the site, it was 100% like team project stuff, you know? Oh, nice.
Distributed teams.
Yes. Can you go ahead and shout out any links or whatever that you want to do for this last part of the video?
Yeah, obviously just go check out nocode.video. That's where the submission site is. You can clone that if you'd like. Webflow.com/Raymmar if you want a bunch of other clonables. And of course, check out finsuite.com for the baddest ass Webflow websites on the internet.
Effing sweet.
Effing sweet.
See ya.
All right, see ya. Thanks, Nelson. Talk soon, buddy.